The plasma round missed Marcus Cole's head by 3 centimeters, close enough that he felt the superheated air singe the edge of his ear. He didn't flinch. His body was already moving, calculated and efficient, placing himself between Ambassador Velora and the shooter's position behind the overturned transit pod. "Down," he said. Not a shout, but a command that carried absolute certainty. The Alfaxi diplomat folded her 4-jointed legs beneath her crystalline body with practiced grace, trusting him completely. That trust was why Marcus was here, why he'd taken this contract when a dozen other human mercenaries had turned it down. The Alfaxi paid well, but more importantly, they didn't waste their protectors' lives on stupid political gestures. Another round punched through the decorative column to his left, spraying fragments of synthetic marble across the embassy courtyard. Marcus counted 3 shooters, maybe 4, all using surplus military hardware from the Terran-Votheri conflict. Amateurs with professional weapons, the worst combination. "Stay low," Marcus said, his hand finding the grip of his pulse pistol. "When I move, you move toward the east entrance. Understand?" "Marcus, there are too many." Velora's translated voice came through his earpiece, melodic even through digital conversion. "Retreat protocols state you should abandon me and secure yourself." "Yeah, well, I'm human. We're not good at following retreat protocols." He rolled from cover, fired 3 times in rapid succession, and watched 2 shooters drop before their nervous systems caught up with the fact they'd been hit. The third scrambled backward, weapon clattering to the ground. Marcus didn't pursue. He grabbed Velora's upper manipulator limb and half-dragged, half-guided her toward the reinforced entrance, where embassy security was finally getting their act together. The 4th shooter appeared from nowhere, rising from behind a decorative fountain with a chemical combustion rifle, the kind that fired metal slugs at hypersonic speeds. Marcus saw it happen in the stretched seconds that combat training burned into a soldier's brain. He saw the barrel line up, saw Velora directly in the path, saw there was no time to pull her clear dot, so he stepped into it instead. The round caught him in the left side, just below his ribs, and the impact felt like being kicked by an industrial loader. His armor absorbed some of it, the newer composite weave flexing and distributing the kinetic energy, but not enough. He felt something tear inside, something important, and tasted copper in his mouth. Marcus still managed to put 2 rounds into the shooter before his legs stopped reliably supporting his weight. Velora caught him with surprising strength for something that looked like an organic crystal sculpture, and security forces swarmed the courtyard, finally useful now that the actual fighting was done. "You fool," Velora said, her translated voice tight with what Marcus had learned to recognize as Alfaxi distress. "You absolute human fool." "Did my job," Marcus managed, though talking made his side scream. "You're alive. Contract fulfilled. Shut up. Stop talking. Medical team now." This last part wasn't directed at him, but at the security personnel rushing toward them. The hours that followed existed in fragments. Being carried into the embassy's medical wing, designed primarily for Alfaxi physiology, with a small human-compatible section added as an afterthought. Doctors, both human and alien, working over him with efficient professionalism. Pain held at bay by drugs, but never quite absent. And through it all, Velora's presence. Her crystalline form refracting the medical bay's lights into dancing patterns on the ceiling. "She hasn't left," one of the human doctors mentioned during a lucid moment. "The ambassador. She's been here for 16 hours straight. Alfaxi don't sleep like we do, but still, she should return to her duties." Marcus tried to say something, but the drugs pulled him back under before the words formed. When he finally woke with clear thoughts, he found Velora sitting in a chair that had been modified for her physiology, positioned beside his bed. The medical bay was quiet, the emergency passed, his body held together by synthetic tissue bonding and enough pharmaceutical intervention to stock a small clinic. "You should be working," Marcus said. His voice rough. Belora's head structure tilted in the Alfaxi gesture he'd learned, meant complex emotions. "I broke protocol. I should have returned to my diplomatic duties once you were stabilized." The Council of Alfaxi Protocol specifically states that ambassadors should not form personal attachments to security personnel, as it compromises judgment and creates liability. Sounds reasonable. It is reasonable. It's designed to protect both parties from exactly this kind of situation. She paused, her internal luminescence shifting to a deeper blue. "I don't care. I'm staying until you recover." Marcus tried to sit up, immediately regretted it, and settled for turning his head to look at her properly. "Ambassador, you can't break your own protocols for me. I'm just a hired bodyguard. You took a bullet for me, Marcus Cole. A primitive, metal projectile weapon that should have killed you instantly if it had struck 3 centimeters to the right. You stepped into the path of death without hesitation, because that's what humans do, apparently. You absurd, wonderful species that can't seem to stop sacrificing yourselves for others. It's the job. It shouldn't be. The galaxy shouldn't work this way, where beings throw themselves into harm to protect others. It's inefficient. It's illogical. It's completely contrary to self-preservation instincts." Her luminescence flickered rapid patterns. Marcus had learned meant intense emotion. "And yet you did it anyway. So no, I will not return to my duties. Let the Council reprimand me. Let them assign me to some backwater colony world for improper attachment to a security asset. I don't care." Marcus had worked protection details for 5 years since leaving Earth's military. He'd guarded corporate executives who treated him like mobile furniture, military commanders who saw him as expendable equipment, and politicians who forgot his name 5 minutes after being introduced. He'd never had a principal sit vigil by his hospital bed, certainly never had one risk their career over him. "Why?" he asked. Belora was quiet for a long moment. "Because you're the first being I've met in this position who treats it as more than a transaction. You actually care whether I live or die. Not because of contract obligations or diplomatic necessity, but because you've somehow decided I'm worth protecting." She made a sound that the translator rendered as a laugh, though Marcus suspected it lost something in conversion. "Humans are absurd. You bond with anything. Other species, artificial intelligences, even small domesticated creatures with no intelligence whatsoever. And now you've made me care about you, which is terribly inconvenient for both of us." "Sorry," Marcus said, though he was smiling despite the pain. "Don't be. Just heal. The doctors say you'll make a full recovery, which apparently is another ridiculous human trait. You're incredibly difficult to kill permanently. We're stubborn like that." Belora reached out with one manipulator limb, gently touching his uninjured shoulder in a gesture that was purely Alfaxi, a sign of deep respect and affection. "When you're recovered, I'm requesting you as permanent head of security. Not as a contractor, but as a direct embassy employee. The pay is better, and it comes with actual medical coverage that assumes you'll occasionally do something suicidally brave. The Council won't like that. More protocol breaking. Then they can file their complaints formally. I've discovered I'm quite good at ignoring bureaucratic disapproval when properly motivated." Her luminescence shifted to a warm amber. "Besides, they need me. I'm the only ambassador who successfully negotiated 3 separate trade agreements with human governments. They won't replace me over something as minor as keeping the bodyguard who saved my life." Marcus closed his eyes, exhaustion pulling at him despite the sleep he'd already had. "You know, when I took this job, I thought it would be a simple protection contract. Guard the alien diplomat, collect the paycheck, move on to the next one. And now? Now I'm apparently stuck with you. Good. I'm stuck with you too. Someone has to make sure you don't do anything else stupidly heroic. No promises there, Ambassador. Velora. If we're breaking protocols anyway, you should use my name. Velora, then. He let the name settle. Foreign but fitting. And I'm Marcus. Not Cole, not the human. Just Marcus. Just Marcus, she repeated, her translator somehow managing to convey warmth. The human who suffers for alien diplomats and somehow makes them care in return. Your species is going to cause so much trouble in the galactic community, aren't you? Probably. We're good at that. Wonderful. I suppose someone should document it. Might as well be me. Marcus drifted toward sleep again, the pain managed, and his body already beginning the hard work of healing. Before unconsciousness claimed him, he felt Velora's presence still there, keeping watch, breaking every protocol in her species' diplomatic handbook for the sake of one stubborn human. Bodyguard who decided she was worth bleeding for Dot in the morning. He'd have to deal with reports and investigations, and probably a stern conversation with someone from the Alfaxi Council. But for now, in this quiet moment, Marcus allowed himself something he rarely did. He trusted someone else to keep watch while he rested Dot after all. She'd already proven she was willing to break the rules for him. That was worth more than any contract.